Okay, chapter 12 is on whiteboarding and visual selling. So some of the goals of this chapter: understand the advantages of whiteboarding and where it fits in the sales cycle. Learn how to create an 8 to 10 minute visual vignette or vignette. Be able to present a whiteboard using best practices for maximum impact. So I don't have an actual whiteboard in here with me. What I do have is I have blank paper, which I could sketch something and hold it up to you, which won't be as effective. But in the past year, Google Meets has added a whiteboarding feature. Now, when we switch over to that, I don't know if the video recording is going to pick it up, but we'll see what happens when we switch over to that, if it manages. I guess if I share that window, it should. So I'll have to stop sharing the presentation and switch over to the whiteboard. But we can all use the we can all see the whiteboard if I do that, and I could do a digital presentation with whiteboarding, or if I was in person, like you're in the classroom and there's a whiteboard, I could do whiteboarding as part of my teaching or as part of a sales pitch in a room with a whiteboard. So the whiteboarding is an alternative PowerPoint. And actually a very successful alternative to PowerPoint. Studies have shown that whiteboarding tends to work better than a prepared PowerPoint presentation in many cases, because it's more focused, it's more connected, it's not a distraction. You can key in on things because you don't spend all that time preparing something long and in depth. You really have to focus down to the most important concepts to fit on that whiteboard or to sketch out on that whiteboard in real time. So it helps keep their attention focused. You have those key points and takeaways, and you can write it on a whiteboard that's erasable, a poster board, a chalkboard, paper, a napkin, a tablet, whatever you have handy. So the advantages of using a whiteboard and doing a demonstration with a whiteboard is that it can be interactive because you can ask questions and you're writing and you take their feedback, you put it right up on the board. Collaborative because you're involving everyone in the creation. You can invite them up to write on the board. Highly adaptable because, again, it takes shape as you go and you can instantly adapt and change what you're presenting. And it's extremely personal because at the end of the day, every whiteboard is unique. It's not like you're showing the same PowerPoint presentation you've used a dozen times before with a dozen clients. You're using something that is unique and to that situation and that it is a product of that situation. The disadvantages of the whiteboard: you can't sketch out complex solutions in a few minutes on a whiteboard. That takes a little more depth and a little more detail than you really have with a whiteboard. There's visibility limitations. If you have a large room or large crowd, you have to write really large, and there might be people who can't see or read it that well. Or you might have my problem, which is I have bad writing and lack artistic ability, as you'll see when I jump over to the whiteboard feature. So that's a big hindrance for some people, in which case maybe have a sales partner who has better handwriting or practice it. But there's a really good comment in here that if you have bad handwriting, it's usually due to writing fast. Like a lot of times people have bad handwriting just because they're trying to write fast. The time difference between writing fast and sloppy and writing slow and more readable is very minimal, like 10%. You write 10% slower and you make it much more readable. And so if you do that trade-off and say, I'm not going to rush through this, I'm going to take my time to write legibly because I'm not gaining that much. It's kind of like when speeding. If the road's 60 miles per hour and you go 70 miles per hour and get a speeding ticket, would you really have gotten there that much faster going 70 than 60? It's like that incremental difference. Do you really need to be doing that? Because it risks getting a ticket and you got to pay money. So so slow down, write it, write it legibly so they can see. And there's some tricks in there. One of my favorite tricks is if you're using a poster board or a tablet, you can write everything out in pencil that you want to write lightly so they can't see it. And then when you're up there, you just trace the pencil and you can have like some really nice art. If you have an artistic coworker, have them pre-write it for you or pre-draw it, then all you have to do is trace it. And it looks like you're a really good artist because you're just tracing the lines they can't see and following those lines. So you can use whiteboarding during different phases of a pitch or presentation. During the discovery phase, you can whiteboard all the things you're learning and all the key pain points. In the solution design, you can sketch out the features and benefits, or the system architecture, or the integration scheme, or whatever else you need to show. Technology review, you can discuss the key aspects of your technology, the features, the benefits, writing the speed, the cost, the whatever, write down the key points. And then executive meetings to summarize the cost benefit analysis. Here's what it costs you, here's what it'll save you, here's your annual, here's what you're spending now, here's the benefit. You can draw those things out and sketch them out live. You can ask them those questions and get that feedback and do it live for them. Even though you're whiteboarding, you still have a residual message and 3 key points. So that main goal, or that main message, is still there, that you have to frame within the whiteboard and demonstrate with the whiteboard. And you still want to show those three points through the whiteboard. So again, ways of showing that it's the correct solution because it's, it'll work with their system, or that it's better than the competitors for some reason, or whatever those key points are. The cost is lower. You can draw stacks of money and say, here's the stacks of money you'd spend for the competitors. We're only 20% of the competitors' cost. Now draw a stack of money that's only 20% high, and you can show the 2 stacks. Say, here's your current spending level, here's our solution, and then here's the stack of bills that it will save you every year, and draw another stack of bills for comparison. So here's what you got to pay, and here's what you're going to save. So you can do things like that and show comparisons to do those kind of key point emphasis. This is one I struggle with in the classroom when I'm writing a lot of stuff on the board. Stay at least 90 degrees to the board, meaning you should never face the board. It's easier for me to face the board and write, but I'm talking to the board then. And the book has this excellent commentary that says, the board has no money, the board isn't your customer, the board isn't buying anything. Don't talk to the board, talk to your audience. So you want to make sure that you never turn to face the board. You're always 90 degrees or more from the board, so that you're turned towards the audience, at least halfway towards the audience, if not the full way towards the audience. Another great tip is just practice a set of icons to help you tell your story. So if your business logo is easily recognizable, learn how to sketch it in a few seconds, or a representation of it in a few seconds. And the customer's business logo, learn how to sketch that. So you can, draw them side by side, maybe like a big heart around them or something, or a big pile of money around them, or whatever, draw them, draw those logos in a way that you can intersperse them through the presentation, or draw some really iconic, graphics, like, some cartoon characters, or, if you're pitching to Disney, draw a little Mickey Mouse and draw as Mickey Mouse or something. To represent them, but have a set of icons that help tell your story that you can use throughout, and that you're really good at doing, and that are really clear and look like you have some artistic talent. And also use different colors for emphasis. So this is a really great thing that I try to use in my undergrad teaching when I have my whiteboard, where I use different colors for different things. Like when I draw a circuit, I draw the circuit in black. And then I draw like positive sections in red, or I'll use positive red, negative black, and then green for ground when I'm drawing things. Or I'll try to find color schemes like that highlight different things I'm doing. They say that the 4 colors you likely want are black, red, green, and blue. Black is your standard text for writing, so like your name on the board, or the company name, or something, just standard information. Red is the pain points. So when you make the list of the things that you've identified from discovery that are pain points, write those in red. Your solutions, you write in green, because green means go. You want them to do it. Any authoritative statements or anything that is universally true or understood comes out in blue to make it bold, like something like, your market is expected to grow 30% annually for the next 5 years. You do not, so you can put that statement like, the U.S. government says the growth in your market is projected to be 30% a year for the next 5 years. That's a statement you put in blue, and then you say, are you prepared to grow with that? Are you capable of 30% growth? With our product, you will be. You won't be able to sustain that growth without our product. So you put that blue statement there, and then with your green, you say, we will help you by streamlining your HR hiring process, by integrating this, by doing this. And you can have all those green solutions that allow you to tie back to that blue statement of your industry is exploding. You need to be able to keep up. Here's all the green ways you can do it. Then you can write those red pain points. You don't have a unified infrastructure of software across your organization. You lack this, you lack that. All, you can do all the red stuff tied to that blue statement, and all the green stuff, how you can help them. So those colors are really good for emphasis and a really great way to make that distinction when using the whiteboard. So let me try to switch over to the whiteboard thing here. So let's see, I will stop presenting, still recording. We are going to open whiteboard, start a new whiteboard, and I will give you guys permission. Here's the whiteboard, so let me make sure it's shared. Present. Let's see, where is the present a window? Share. Okay, so it looks like all three of you are in here. Now with the whiteboard, one of the challenges that I've learned in the past year with teaching online is that a whiteboard is very difficult to draw on with a mouse, because you don't quite have, it's not natural to use a mouse like a pen. Like, I've tried signing my name in documents with a mouse. I've tried doing a lot of things with a mouse. It's just not natural. I don't have a touchscreen laptop or touchscreen computer. I could, if I had a touchscreen laptop or computer, I could just put my finger on the screen and I could just draw on the screen with my finger, or with a stylus or pen, not an actual pen, but a stylus type pen. If you don't have that, there are other solutions for a whiteboard. One of them is a tablet, and this is a colleague recommended this to me. I'm going to hold it up. I don't know if it might be blurred out, but it's basically just a signature pad like you'd have when you go to the supermarket or go someplace where you have to buy something and sign the pad. This is just a large version of that signature pad where I can, whoops, where did that go? Come on, whiteboard, pop back up. I lost the window, jumped away when I did that, when I touched the pad. I know I'm presenting. Close, 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 open. Okay, let's see if this works now. All right, so I'm going to go, I'm going to use my tablet here, and I think you guys can draw too. So I'm going to pick something, and I've got my special glove on, which allows me not to drag my hand on the tablet. So I can set my hand on without marking it, and I can, just like I'm writing, I can pick a color, and I can draw. Now I'm still learning how to use this thing. But I can grab items here, and I can erase things. I can grab a shape here. I can draw some shapes if I want to. I can put in a text box, type with my other hand. So this can be your whiteboard for your for your presentation. You can be talking and you can be scripting and say, hey, it's great to be here at IBM today. Oops. I want to sell you something. We'd love to talk with you more about the opportunities to partner with RMU, because you have at IBM, you have a lot of people who are in engineering that could move up into management. You know, you keep them around, they're really good people, they can move up into management. Well, if you were to send them to RMU, we could train them to be engineering managers. We could get them a degree in engineering management in as little as 12 months, and for whatever dollars. We actually have an agreement with FedEx like this, where FedEx has agreed to send, there's a cohort of FedEx employees that are have the option of coming to RMU for a reduced cost through an agreement with FedEx, where FedEx picks up the remainder of the cost. So I could even draw, FedEx. And I could change colors and say, FedEx is awesome because they're giving us money. We love money at RMU. Money's good. You love money at IBM. You'll make more money if your students have, if your employees are trained to advance in your organization because they already have the internal skills and know-how that you've taught them from the positions they're working in. And we're going to help maximize their potential by training them to be engineering managers and move up in your organization and be better leaders in your organization. So would you like to partner with us to do this? In fact, a company in Johnstown did this, and named Couchera, and they actually had our faculty come out on site and teach classes on site. So their employees would just stay after work, and once a week they would stay after work, and we'd run the class on site for them in person. And we did that for a few years for them, and trained dozens of their employees in engineering management to strengthen their managerial core throughout the organization. It's much cheaper to train someone to be a better manager than have to go out and hire someone and bring someone in as a manager. The hiring process, for the amount that you spend to go through the hiring process and training process to bring someone in, it's much cheaper to send one of your people to school part-time to learn the skills they need to advance in your organization and move up and up and up. Because if you partner with RMU, your people are going nowhere but up. And so I could whiteboard that and discuss that, and I didn't, by highlighting key aspects and putting them on the board. I could always erase, I don't know, clear frame, I guess we do the whole erase. Clear frame. I could erase and start over. So I did the discovery part, I could erase it. I think there's even a save option where I could, save the thing somewhere. What is this one? I don't even know. Oh, it disappears. It's a laser pointer. So if I wanted to highlight something and have it disappear, I could do that if I don't want to clutter things up. And picture. I could upload pictures into here if I wanted. What is this one? Sticky note. There's a note. So we could, I could type more and say, like, rather than just note, reminder to read this note. I'd be one-handed, so it's a little tough. No. So, and I can drag that around, and we can make sticky notes of all our concepts in discovery, and then we could group them and say, oh, this is a software problem, this is a hardware problem. Let's put all our notes together and let's organize this under, this is hardware, this is software, hardware, software, and we'll organize this and say, okay, now with our solution, in the middle here, here's how we connect to hardware, here's how we connect to software, and here's how we link the two. So this whiteboarding can be very powerful to demonstrate, to organize, to brainstorm, to show off what you're doing in a way that just is a visual tie-in, because things aren't static. You're not just putting up a PowerPoint slide. You are creating this, and hopefully, my drawing skills are very limited, so I'm limited about smiley faces. I could do like a rough Mickey Mouse there. And I actually this is the first time I've ever used this pad also. I bought it last week, and I tried to get it working before class, and luckily with our break-in class, I spent that 10 minutes there in our break plugging this in and learning how to use it. So this was a literal 10-minute setup in our break during class where I plugged it in, figured out how to use it. There's even a button on here to advance slides, so I could activate the tool to write on slides, PowerPoint slides, write on them, and then advance them. Let's see, I don't even know what the button does. Let's see, that's doing that. There's some shortcut buttons on the tablet itself that I can program to do different things as well. I can write on the notes. And look here, I can use those same colors, like black for that background information, red for the pain points. Pain points. So in your discovery. There's my blue for authority, or for statements. And my green for solutions. Ran off the board. So are you guys able to write on this too? Let me clear the frame. So I think I gave you edit permission. Whoops, that's me again. So can you guys access the tools and use the tools here?
Yes, you are a good writer, but we can. Okay,
yeah, go ahead. Now it does, I don't know if you all can see it, but when you write, the first letter of your name shows up there so I can see who wrote on there. One of the big discussions I had with teachers when the pandemic started was, when using whiteboards like this, how do I know which kid in the classroom wrote the swear word on the board? Because like words would just appear or things would just appear. And I think that, Google has put in that ability to watch and see, you can see by the first letter, or all of you have color codes. So Khalid, you're purple with a little blue ring around you. And Olivia looks like you're a teal, and Hamdan, you're a brown. So I see a little cursor. I don't know if you guys see it, but I see a little cursor when you write, so I know exactly who's writing what.
Mm-hmm.
So you can feel free to try the different things over there to draw with them, different shapes.
And also you have some new technology that you can buy, like a board, small board.
Yeah, the tablet. So this tablet here, this is called a XP pen.
Mm-hmm.
You might turn
you use that one right now?
What was that?
You use that one right now?
That's what I'm using right now. So when I write, whoops. Okay. So when I write on the tablet, it's writing on the screen.
Okay, so because we are using a mouse. And
yeah, I can use the mouse also.
But so that was the mouse. It's difficult to write the word.
And that was my challenge too. Is that the mouse is hard. It's not familiar for writing. It's hard to write text and draw with a mouse. So these types of tablet boards like this, there's different levels of it, different sizes. So I got the larger size. That's maybe like 7-8 inches tall and about 11-12 inches wide, and that was about $70. There's a smaller version that's I think like a 5x7. That's like $30. So you really don't spend that much. Like for $30, you get a pen and a little tablet that would certainly be enough room to write and draw on a basic screen like this. Or if you want to spend a lot more money, there's I think a $200 version which has an active screen. So not only do you have the surface to draw on, but you can see the screen of what you're drawing on, so that you're looking at the tablet and you're writing directly on it. Right now, I'm kind of writing blind, where I have to guess and say, okay, I think I'm in the middle here when I put my pen down, and I'm looking at the screen but writing on a surface, and so it's a little bit of a disconnect here, where it's hard to I can't see where I am, and I'm sort of figuring it out as I go. Just like when you sign those pads at the grocery store, like you use your credit card and you have to sign that pad, or sign after you buy something, it's a blank area and you're just sort of scribbling in it, trying to get your signature in. So any questions about whiteboarding? Okay, I want to take a quick look at the book and see if there's anything I missed about whiteboarding that I want to talk about. So they talk about the return on investment for whiteboarding, and they show a whole bunch of numbers that from their experience why whiteboarding, has improves a lot of numbers and works better. And they mentioned, again, you can do the whole sales cycle of discovery, solution design, tech review, exec meetings. We talk about that. Ad hoc meetings, so just meetings like just random meetings. You can do the whiteboard, especially again those snap demos that we talked about. Really good for with whiteboards. So if you do a snap demo, find a piece of paper, find a whiteboard, that you can draw on, find something you can write on, a napkin even, and sketch it out. Let's see. They talk about sort of time allotted, how much time you spend writing versus talking. And a good pattern is you draw something, then you touch what you drew to like point to it and refer to it. You turn and face the audience and talk with them, engaging and talking. So you turn, then you talk, and then you go back to drawing. So draw, touch for emphasis, talk about it. You turn to them, you talk about it, and then you go back to drawing. And again, whiteboarding is good with a perfect pitch. They show some examples of basic shapes, lines and arrows, peoples and things that you can draw. Just things that are standard things that you can easily draw quickly to emphasize your point. Let's see, and I mentioned some of the cheats, like having things pre-drawn on a poster board with pencil, using sticky notes. Sometimes you can actually pre-draw things with sticky notes and have the sticky notes hide things. So I've seen that before, where you actually write everything in advance. So if you don't have good handwriting, write the key things in advance and put a sticky note over it. And then when it's time to reveal it, you pull off the sticky note and make the reveal. Or have a set of whiteboards, or sorry, a poster notepad, big poster with notepad type thing with pre-drawn things. And it's a flip chart, and you flip through, and you can write on it as you go through. With sticky notes, you can move things around also. Let's see. If you misspell something and realize it, you can draw that red wavy line under it like you see in Word and joke about it. I thought that was a clever one. So like there's a spell check on the board. So you realize you spelled it, or if you don't think you spelled it right, if you know you didn't spell it right and have no idea how to spell it, you misspell it and you write that red line. It's like, whoops, my spell check kicked in. I misspelled that one. Well, I don't have time to fix it. Key facts can go in the sticky note and move around. And sometimes you want to leave some blank space so that you can add things in as you're talking with them. You don't want to like fill the whole area. So you want to have a place to take notes or note things, write down notes. Whiteboard can be a good closing tool, even if you didn't use it during your PowerPoint, just to sort of sum things up and get feedback and collect that feedback. And I talk about the electric whiteboard on here too, which we just went over. All right, so I will close out the whiteboard and stop the recording.